Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the new year and to a new video. I know it's been a while, but the new year for me means a lot more free time. And what I've been doing recently is remaking some old projects. Now, the reason why I'm remaking them is because we still have a need for them, but I made them so long ago that they've now reached the end of their useful life. So we're going to remake them. The other reason too is I made these projects so long ago before I even started YouTube. So there's no build video for them. So we're going to fix that up as well. Now we'll have some build videos. So let's get into this one. And if you hang around till the end, I'll give you a sneak peek of what the next project is. This is the front of my house, and like most houses, it has a number sign on the front. But what's special about this one is that I made it. And I made it many, many years ago, before I started on YouTube. It has these raised numbers that are backlit with LEDs, and the effect looks great at night. But the problem is they don't work anymore. They are solar powered, and there's a small solar panel on the roof above. I've never really liked this cable that goes up there, so I'm going to change that too. I'm thinking of incorporating the solar panel into the actual sign itself. The sign is also very badly weathered, so it's time to remake it. So this is the back of the sign. As you can see, there's all the LEDs, and they're just basically placed into holes that are drilled through the backer board, and they're held in place with hot glue. The sign needs a border around it to give some space at the back for all of this to fit into, as you can see there. And we're going to build the new sign exactly the same. To make the number sign, I have this board of beautiful clear grade cedar. You can see there how straight those grain lines are. Cedar is a great timber to use outdoors, it's very durable. The sign will have an edge border all the way around it, and for that I've got this other piece of clear grade cedar here that I'll cut all the strips out of. I've got these two French cleat style aluminium brackets, that's how it hangs on the wall. And the only difference is I think I'm going to make the sign a bit longer, and I'm going to incorporate this solar panel in the actual sign itself. This is the old solar panel from on the roof, and as you can see, it's very weathered and faded. Now the problem could be the panel itself that's not charging anymore, or it could be the rechargeable battery inside that's not recharging anymore. You can muck around and replace the battery and see if that's the problem, but really it's just not worth it because these things are so cheap. For $12, I got a whole new set, new lights as well, and look at the difference between that and that. The first task was to dismantle the old sign because I was going to use it as a template to drill the holes in the new board. The mounting holes for the numbers and all the holes for each individual LED light. I didn't use any glue to assemble the original sign so that everything was free to move as it needed to with all the weathering it was exposed to. And I'll do the same for the new sign. Wasn't expecting that. Using the old board, I marked the holes for the number mounting screws and made sure I was happy with the placement of the small solar panel at the bottom. I then cut the board to length and to width by ripping off that rounded edge. Cedar is such a nice wood to work with, and it smells nice too. I drilled out the mounting holes for the numbers and used these to bolt the two boards together to easily and accurately mark all the holes for the LEDs. Drilling all these holes was a little tedious, but didn't really take too long. Here I'm only drilling about halfway into the board because I didn't want a whole lot of tear out on the back. I elevated the board off the drill press table because of the 4 screws. Once I'd drilled all the holes, I removed the template and stuck a sacrificial piece to the back of the new board and drilled the holes all the way through. To cut the hole in the sign for the solar panel, I jumped on the computer and very quickly designed and cut out a template using the laser. For me, this is the best use of the laser in my workshop and my workflow. I'll use the template with a flush trim bit in the router to cut the hole. I stuck the template in position on the board and removed the bulk of the material with Forstner bits before finishing the cutout with the router. I almost always drill pilot holes right through a board before using a Forstner bit so that I can cut the hole from both sides and get perfectly clean cuts. How good is double-sided tape? I had to make a small relief in the cutout for the cable and the rubber grommet in the side of the solar panel. Time now to make the edge banding for the sign, and I ripped this piece of cedar into 3 strips and then ran them through the thicknesser to mill them down to the same thickness. The edge pieces were then cut down to their final lengths for a perfect fit. I marked the centre line on the inside of each side piece and then drilled holes for mounting screws. I always drill pilot holes whenever I'm inserting screws into the edge of a board. It's just the way I was taught. It doesn't take a lot of extra time and it eliminates any cracking of the board or pieces shifting out of place, so it's definitely worthwhile. I first used the original drill bit to mark the board with a centre mark and then used that mark to centre the pilot drill. Time to finish all the pieces before final assembly and a coat of spray can clear gloss. I put the sign together using stainless steel screws to match the numbers and to hold up to the weather. The lights and solar panel were all held in place with hot glue. I used that on the old one and it lasted for many years outside, so I'm going to do that again. First the solar panel was glued in place and then each individual LED, one by one. The LEDs were pushed through to the front about 5mm proud of the surface and then held in place with a good dab of glue on the back. The lights were a snug fit in the hole, so that helped keep them in place. And to finish off the string of lights after installing the last one, I just cut the wires and glued them in place so they weren't loose in the back of the sign. After a quick test to check all is okay and installing the mounting hardware, the new number sign could get mounted on the front of the house. As you can see, it was raining at the time, so I didn't record putting it back up, but here it is in place and looking great. And I'm really happy that I eliminated that wire I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Well, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Even though it's a remake of an old project, I think it's a much better version of its former self. The next video will be me remaking this old bench that's at the front of our house. As you can see, it really has reached the end of its useful life and needs a remake, so make sure you look out for that video.